Now we'll discuss chapter 6, Kingdoms, Kings and an Early Republic. So we will discuss how some men became rulers. So the ruler or the leader is known as the Raja. So how is the Raja chosen? The Raja is chosen by Jana. Jana means people. Jana is an ancient Sanskrit word, also known as people. So the Raja is chosen by the people. But there's also certain conditions. But the Raja had to do a sacrifice, a horse sacrifice, also known as Ashwamedha. So the Raja had to pass the Ashwamedha horse sacrifice test, and then he or she, mainly he only, and then he was elected to become the king. So what happens is a special selected horse is selected by the king, and it is guarded by the king's men, and that horse is led to roam around freely throughout the kingdom, wherever the Raja wanted to become the king or the ruler. So if any of the neighboring if any of the neighboring leaders stopped the horse and blocked the way, then he or she had to fight, and then this Raja had to fight and defeat them. If the Raja is able to defeat that person, he is able to conquer the kingdom. Otherwise, in other cases, if the other leaders let the horse pass through it, and they become the part of the Raja's kingdom. So in this way, the leaders were chosen during the Vedic times, and they were also divided. The people were divided into 4 varnas. It's also known as varnashram system, also known as the caste system. So the society was divided into 4 castes, namely Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas and the Shudras. So the Brahmins were the learned scholars. They used to study the Vedas, they used to study various aspects, and they used to guide everybody. They used to even guide the kings. And the Kshatriyas are the kings. They were the administrative class. They used to get guidance from the Brahmins, and they used to rule according to their guidance. And the Vaishyas, they were business class people. They used to do a lot of business, and trade flourished. And Shudras were the people who did all the other jobs, like cleaning jobs, maintenance jobs, and they made society good by doing all this. So society was well organized in the form of 4 castes, and it was running efficiently during the Vedic times. So that's why it's known as the Varnas. Then we'll study about Janapadas. Like if a small city was known as Janapada. So Janapadas were cities. Instead of cities, they used to call them Janapadas. For example, many Janapadas were found: Purana Kila in Delhi, Hastinapur near Meerut, Atranji Kheda near Eta, Uttar Pradesh, etc. What archaeologists found in these various Janapadas are, the people used to live in huts. They had a lot of cattle. They also domesticated other animals, and they also grew a variety of crops. So society was thriving. The people of the Janapadas had a good life. And now we'll discuss about Mahajanapadas. Mahajanapadas are large cities. Okay, so these large cities, they definitely contained the capital city in which the king lived, which was fortified with huge walls of wood, brick or stone for safety reasons, for protection against enemies. So that was one characteristic feature of the Mahajanapadas from the Janapadas. And then the Rajas maintained armies, large armies, and paid regular salaries to their soldiers. If a Raja was a bigger Raja, he maintained an army of a larger size. But he paid regular salaries to all his soldiers and ministers and commanders and generals. So the 4 Varnas, the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas and the Shudras managed the Vedic societies, and life was very good during those days. So this is what we discussed in this chapter: how some men became rulers, the Varna system, the Janapadas and the Mahajanapadas. Now we'll discuss about taxes. Let's take a look at the various taxes which was present during the Vedic times. So the first and the most important tax was on farmers, on the crops, because the farmers produced the crops and they had to give a part of their produce to the Rajas in the form of tax. So the farmers had to give 1/6 of their crop produce to the Rajas for the kingdom. A part of that was also stored as reserve food supply in case of emergencies. So there was also tax on the craft persons, the people who were dealing with handicrafts like pottery or maybe some metal work or maybe some wood work. They had to either work for the king maybe a few days a month. or they had to give a part of their produce. Then taxes were also taken on animal herders. There were a lot of herders. They had a lot of goats or sheep, or even maybe in desert areas like camels, horses. They had to give food to the animals which they maintained. So either they had to give a part of some of these animals, like some sheep or goat, to the rajas, or maybe give a produce, like the goat's milk or the sheep's milk to the kingdom, to the king's palace, or to the rajas. Some adjustment was there. Tax was also levied on goods that were sold through trade. Like, say for example, if a foreigner comes to a city of the kingdom and buys a good, so the amount of money received by the traders, they had to give a part of the money to the rajas. And one more tax was there. So taxes were also levied on hunters and gatherers. So whatever they hunted in the forest and whatever they produced from the plant and animal goods, they had to give a part to the rajas as well. So these were the major taxes. Taxes on crops, taxes on craft persons, taxes on animal herders, taxes on goods sold through trade, taxes on hunters and gatherers. Now we will discuss about changes in agriculture. While these taxes were taking place, some major changes were also taking place in agriculture. So let's take a look at these changes. So the number one change was farmers started using more and more iron-based tools. This increased the efficiency of digging. They were able to dig much more, they were able to plant much more, they were able to grow more crops. And then secondly, a lot of people in the Indian subcontinent, they started planting more rice because it was much more convenient and a lot of water was available due to fertile plain areas. So a lot of people began transplanting paddy, also known as rice. So these resulted in increased production. These two major agriculture changes, they increased in the production of the crops, and the crops were of high quality. But it was a very painstaking job, and it was generally done by the slaves, either captured or bought by the king or the rajas. So these were the major changes which took place during the Vedic times, changes in agriculture and taxes. So we discussed both of these topics.